Hello and welcome to another Cedar Creek Motorsports overview. This time we're going to be going through the brand new 2026 Can-Am Defender HD11 Limited. Hop in, let's get to it. The 2026 Can-Am Defender has just arrived, and while it looks like the Defender that you know, Can-Am has not only revised the looks with all new LED lighting, but they made a brand new chassis, beefed up the suspension, added a completely new 3-cylinder engine with a brand new P-drive clutch. Can-Am has also upgraded the HVAC system in here to give you zone controls, multiple fan speeds, air conditioning, and Can-Am has finally added their 10-inch touchscreen GPS display. Let's dive in. On the exterior of this 2026 Defender, you will notice that Can-Am has kept the same Defender lines. They've just done a lot of revisions on it to add in more modern features and make this a much more usable, much more serviceable machine. So up front, you'll notice they finally added in all new LED lighting and gave it a new front fascia to make the thing just look a lot more modern, a lot tougher. To mount their new extra beefy front bumper that's gonna have extra space to mount either a bunch of light pods on here or if you wanna mount a single light bar. And as we step towards the rear of the machine here, one of the first things you may notice, they have relocated their air vents for the CVT and the air cleaner. They've moved them out to give them access to even more air instead of being tucked underneath the bed. These are going to be able to pull through a lot more air, and it really needs that with this new engine and their new P-drive clutch. The other thing you're going to notice right away versus the outgoing HD10 is right here, Can-Am has finally given us a real side step with a little grip so your foot's not going to end up sliding off. And that's going to give you a lot better access to get onto the roof if you put a roof rack up there, or for reaching on into the bed to grab whatever you may have thrown into that cargo bed. Other things that they've done that's really cool with this cargo bed is they have added on the floor here pre-marked locations for their Link Q system. So they have spots that are made so you don't have to worry about hitting anything underneath. You can drill through that and mount their Link Q bases for any of their gas caddies or storage boxes or other accessories, because they have a ton that you can throw back here. Can-Am's done a couple of other really cool things with the cargo bed. Not only did they add those pre-marked locations for their Link Q accessories, but they have also added in a 12-volt outlet in the rear corner of the bed. That's going to be super handy if you're going out camping, you need to inflate one of those mattresses, or if you brought an inflatable raft with you, you're down at the river, that's going to come in super handy for anything you might be doing. And Can-Am has also made sure this tailgate is rated to withstand up to 250 pounds. So if you're at that or under that, you pull down to the river, you can pull a beer out and sit on here while you drink that and enjoy the view. While the exterior looks very similar to the outgoing HD10, Can-Am did engineer a completely new chassis for the HD11. They have even added an extremely thick skid plate underneath here that's almost 3/8 of an inch thicker than what was on the HD10. And they made sure to only bolt it on there. There's no rivets, there's no plastic rivets. It's fully bolted to make taking it on and off for servicing of the machine a lot easier. Another improvement that Can-Am's made to this all-new chassis is to give it an integrated plow mount. So now all you need to do is get the plow blade and the push tubes, and it will mount to the vehicle from factory as long as you're using a Can-Am plow. With the all-new chassis, Can-Am decided to pair it with an even heavier duty suspension system that's going to further reduce noise and harshness inside the cab. Not only have they made every suspension component larger and tougher, from the suspension arms to the knuckles, the bearings, and the hardware, but they have redesigned the layout to make the installation of a track kit even easier than it was before. And while keeping ride quality and noise in mind, Can-Am has added double bonded bushings at every opportunity on the suspension to further refine the ride and comfort of this machine. And while Can-Am has upgraded all of the suspension components on the 2026 Defender, they made sure to keep the same 14 inches of ground clearance and maintained 12 inches of suspension travel front and rear. One of the things that they've upgraded is going to the 15-inch cast aluminum rims. You still have 30-inch tires wrapped around here. These are the Track Force tires from XPS. Up front, they're 30 by 9 by 15. In the rear, you're gonna have 30 by 10 by 15-inch tires. It's really nice that they upgraded to that 15-inch rim. You're gonna have a lot more options for upgrading the rubber. You don't have to swap the rims out. Yet another huge upgrade that Can-Am did for the 26 Defender is by upgrading this winch. So it's still a 4,500-pound synthetic rope winch, but what they added is an auto stop feature. So it's gonna sense once this hook gets close to that fair lead, so you don't have to worry about knowing where that hook is. You can just press the button until it stops. There's no more worry of ripping this hook off or ruining the rope. What might be the most exciting change for 2026 is gonna be the new engine that Can-Am has stuffed in here. So underneath their cargo tilt bed, and I'm actually gonna go around, there's a pretty cool pin to give you better access here. So if we pop this pin out, we can get a lot better access into the engine compartment here. And this is gonna be where Can-Am has stuffed the new 999cc Ace 3-cylinder engine. This is gonna be making 95 horsepower and 70 foot-pounds of torque. They've given it camshaft profiles and a specific engine tuning that's gonna help keep all of that power down low. You're still gonna get a good amount of power up in the rev range, but this being meant to be a workhorse and a trail machine, they kept that power down low to make it a lot better performing when you are hauling and towing with this machine. Another thing they've done to make this an even better both trail machine and work machine, they've upgraded the clutch. So it's now running their all new P-Drive QRS X primary clutch. What that's gonna do is it's gonna help be a lot more responsive to your throttle inputs by using rollers instead of sliders on that clutch. They've also done a lot of tuning with these springs on there and the weights to make sure when you hit the pedal, you're gonna get a response right away. Whether you are engine braking or you're trying to accelerate, you're trying to be a little more precise, this is gonna be a lot more responsive to your throttle foot. Can-Am has continued to keep their electronic belt protection system, so it will sense if that belt has been slipping too much. If it's getting too hot, it's gonna throw it into a limp mode to make sure that you can always get home. You're not gonna fry a belt and be stranded out there. It's gonna be able to monitor the temperatures on that to help make sure that you can get the job done and you can get home. Another really cool thing Can-Am has done back here is with all of this heat shielding. So they now have heat shielding over the muffler, the bottom of the cargo bed, the back of the cab wall, and around their exhaust piping as well. That's been a big complaint people have had with really any UTV of the past, is just all that heat finding its way into the cab. So Can-Am's put a ton of that heat shielding here to make sure that it's gonna be an even more comfortable of a ride. So we've covered most of what we can see on the outside of the 26 Defender. We'll head on in. First thing you're gonna notice is we do have the locking door handles for 2026. And on the Limiteds, you do get these nicer bolstered seats that are gonna do a really good job of keeping you locked in place when you are on the bumpy trails. You're doing a lot of work on rough terrain. It's gonna keep you locked in. On these doors, you still have the power windows. They did upgrade these switches, gave them a little more rugged, durable feel to them. And as we hop in, first thing you'll notice on the left-hand side of the dash is gonna be these larger HVAC vents. So these are gonna be a lot more automotive style now, where you have the option to completely close the vent and you can aim them up, down, left, and right. It's really cool, Can-Am's done that. And then you have your headlights right here. Once again, they finally added in LED headlights, which is awesome. We got our winch switch on the left-hand side. And this is something they brought over from the previous model Defenders, this little kind of cubby hole right there. What they did add for 2026 is going to be this little phone tray. So it's this rubber tray that slides in and out for you to throw your phone for some quick access. There's no charging at that spot right there. But if we move this steering wheel down, so this has kind of got an entry and exit mode. It flips up all the way out of the way. and then just clicks back down to make getting in and out easier. But up on top, what that was kind of blocking when it was flipped up, this is going to be the sealed phone storage, and you do have a USB for charging in here. And like all of Can-Am's kind of phone storage areas, they give you this little foam block to throw your phone in, so it's not going to be rattling around. It's going to help keep it a little protected there. Now let's close this door. So Can-Am still has their basic 4.5-inch gauge display right in front of that steering wheel. This steering wheel has been upgraded quite a bit. It now features controls on here. This is going to be how you can help control the new 10-inch display that's in the center of the dash right there. So they keep the controls right at your fingertips for some basic functions. So let's go ahead and start this. We will notice they have added the DESS key system here. So that's their digitally encoded security system. Gives you this key fob. What's really nice, when you pull that off, it actually kills the engine. There's a few other machines where it stays running, so you got to make sure to hit the start stop button. I wanted to dive in a little more to all these different modes that you see here on this selector pad, because there's a lot of functionality on this new Defender that is going to be controlled right here. First thing you'll notice in this lower left hand corner, this is your engine modes. You have 3 different modes. You have normal, work, and sport mode. That's going to change the throttle response to the throttle pedal, controlling that all new 999cc 3-cylinder engine. What's really cool here is you do have your selectable 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive modes here, which you'll hear it kind of click if you can hear that on the microphone there. And then you have your diff modes. That is going to select the programming for the smart lock system. So this Defender, while it does have manual locking rear and front differentials, it still has their smart lock system, which has 2 different programmings. It has a work program and a 4x4 trail programming to it. Now that's going to change how it locks up depending on what throttle position you are, how the machine is sensing your riding, to either make it better for towing and hauling, or if you're out having fun on the trail, it's going to give it a programming that is going to offer a lot better handling on trail. Now if you hit this drive mode button on the top left here, you will notice there's a lot of presets for the drive modes. You have 2 customizable ones where you can set all the settings there, and then you have normal, work, and sport modes. So what that's going to do is it's first going to change the engine map to normal, work, or sport mode. It's going to adjust the power steering. You can actually go in and edit that as well. And then it's also going to change the smart lock setting. You'll see where it says lock, that's going to be the rear differential. So in work mode, it's going to have its smart lock in its work programming, and the rear differential is locked out. If you go into sport mode, it's going to automatically change that to the 4x4 trail smart lock setting, and that's leaving the rear unlocked. And then you have your customizable modes where you can change all those settings there as well. And in normal mode, it's defaulting to giving you normal engine mode, maximum power steering in the trail smart lock setting, and then an unlocked rear differential. What is really awesome is you can go in and actually change all of these settings. So if you use this thing for work and then you're going out on the weekend to have fun on the trail, you can have these presets made, so you just have to change the drive mode and it's going to have all of your settings saved. So you can go in there and change where you want the engine mode to be set at. You can change the power steering mode. If you want less assist, you can choose to have that on minimum. You can also choose if you want to have a different smart lock setting there. And then you can choose to lock out the rear differential as well. You can save that as the custom 1 or custom 2 modes, but you will notice after you've adjusted some of these settings, it will say sport modified to let you know that one of these settings you have changed from its default. So I remember that was our power steering. We'll put that back to max, and now you'll know it's back to the default sport settings when it no longer says modified there. Again, there is a ton of functionality to this multimedia display, like GPS and a whole lot of other stuff. So make sure to like and subscribe to stay tuned for our upcoming tutorial that will go in depth to this 10.25-inch GPS display. We have some more HVAC vents. There's actually a ton of vents on here. There's 4 kind of front-facing ones right there. And then you do have some specific defrost vents as well. And there's some defrost vents on the side. And all of those HVAC vents are going to be controlled by their new HVAC system. So they did a lot of upgrades to this to make it cool quicker. They made it heat up quicker. They make it so it defrosts the windows a lot quicker. But my favorite thing that they upgraded is the fact that you now have 3 knobs instead of that 1 knob where you kind of had to cycle through a lot of stuff. So you have your separate fan control right there. You have your button to turn AC on and off, your temp control. And what's really cool is they do have the zone control now, so you can select where you want that air to be blown. If you want only defrost, or if you want it blowing at your face, or anywhere in between. You have a lot of options now. That's really cool. Can-Am upgraded that. In my opinion, it's way better than the outgoing HD10 Limited. And right next to the key and the differential controls, you will notice this volume up and volume down button. So that is going to be controlling the new JL audio system that Can-Am has added to the Limited. You no longer have to add an audio system. You have one built in from factory for the Limited. Also up top, you have some provisions for adding in more switches for any other accessories you might want to throw. Another really cool thing is you get a premium headliner and a dome light for the Limited model. And back to the JL audio system, that is going to be controlled through the new 10-inch touchscreen display, where you're going to be able to pair your phone and stream any music to this display that's going to play through those speakers. One of the other things Can-Am has done for the 26 Defender, they relocated the cup holders. They threw them up on top of the dash, and they kept the classic tip-out windshield that's going to have its vent position as well. So if you just throw that up, you can have it venting, getting a little bit of fresh air, or you can pop that all the way on up if you want to get maximum airflow through the cab. Open up the windows too. And if we close this back down, on top of that windshield, you still have the wiper washer control right here. So if it's raining out, so you got a lot of bugs on the windshield, you can hit that button and clear it on up. And if we hop on over to the passenger side here, this is where they have their glove box. And it is a very deep glove box. Can-Am has given you a ton of room in here. What's really awesome is they did add a USB outlet that's going to have USB-C and your standard USB, and then you have a standard 12-volt outlet in there, which is super handy if you need to charge anything on up or pull power. Can-Am has given you that option, and just like the outgoing HD10 Can-Am, still gives you the flip-up passenger seating in the cab, and they've included the toolbox underneath there as well. So if you need to throw a bunch of stuff in here, or you have a dog you don't want to let on the seats, you can flip those on up and you get a little bit more room. Before we end this video, I do want to cover one more thing. With the revised front fascia, they have changed how this hood opens. They made it a lot easier. There's 2 little buttons right here and it just flips on open. This is going to give you super easy access to the cabin air filter. Your washer fluid bottle is tucked right here. It's a lot easier to get at, and it's a lot easier to see your coolant level. The reservoir is tucked up front here. The previous Defender, it was over in the back. It was kind of hard to get your head in to look at. They made it a lot easier. Your brake fluid reservoirs are up front as well. And they do also give you a nice spot to get access to the battery terminals. The battery's not up here, it's actually underneath the middle seat. This just gives you a lot easier access if you need to jump this machine or something else. This gives you a lot easier access to those terminals. And that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for this 2026 Defender. There's a lot more to it, so if you wanna check it out for yourself, stop in at Cedar Creek Motorsports. We're in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment with any questions you might have or anything else you'd like to see in the future. Thanks for watching. Let's ride.